And what's up, my people? It's Joey Bags, and I'm back with the third video in the in-depth series of my wheelbases. And this video is all about the Cammus and the Cammus C5. And as you can see in front of me, of all of them, this is the least complicated of all the wheelbases. Now, there is a little mount that bolts into right here that sticks out, and then will mount onto a box that has the fan that blows onto here that you can connect that to your rig. That's currently in the box. I didn't feel like taking that out, but you can see other videos that I've done of this and other videos online. Here you'll see, oh, let's turn this around so you can see the connectivity here. So this plug is for the fan. This is the USB to your PC. This is the DC input, and you've got two USB-Cs here for pedal, handbrake, and shifter. Now, I haven't seen any of these items from Cammus's on Cammus's website other than pedals, so you know that is what it is. Here you go. This is a point of contention for a lot of people. These are the shifter paddles, and you can see on either side they're super tiny. A lot of people have issues because they have big hands and have a difficult time hitting them. I do not. I actually have rather short hands, and my fingers fit on them, as you can see, rather naturally. The cool part about this wheel is that the motor, the hub, everything is built right into this small compact package. Now, this is completely different than how it's done in the sim world. As you can see, this is an absolute novel idea. And quite honestly, I would love to try out their C12, which is actually a 12 Newton meter version of this wheel that actually has a changeable rim. As this one is designed, it's not designed to be changeable. So this D-shaped wheel is what you're going to get. This is a LED display here that displays your speed, RPM, speed and gear shift. These are RGB LEDs here. This is used as a tack. All of these buttons are rather nice. They're not overly clicky. You could say they may be a little on the mushier side, but they're not too bad. It does have 3 rotary encoders here that you can actually set up in your software if you want them to be simple, forward back style rotary encoder. So like you click one for yes, back for no, or you can click each one to a specific assigned button number. This is honestly a really simple wheelbase since it's all encased there. There's no changing out wheels. There's no fiddling about that. It is what it is. This is a 5 Newton meter wheelbase. Now, or should I say a 5 Newton meter wheelbase. So 5 Newton meters of torque. Quite honestly, it feels more. Now, if you look at some of my other videos, there are people that comment, oh, it's actually 5 Newton meters of constant holding torque and it peaks at 8. I've run this at 8, and I've also run the PXN 10 Newton meter version that they have. This does not feel like either of them. I've felt those. I know the power that's behind them. This does not feel like that. But this does feel more than 5 Newton meters, but does not feel like an 8 or 10 Newton meter. There are some people that may want to, dispute that. I've heard people, oh, it's way more than that, but, still not as good as like Moza than my Moza, you've got people that tend to be fanboys for particular brands. This is great. Don't get me wrong. I actually really love this. This is a lot of times, if console isn't in the picture, this is usually my first choice in wheelbase that I'm going to pick, just because it's so simple and easy to use and light, and I can just pop it on, pop it off easily. But it feels good. It feels powerful, but it doesn't feel 8 Newton meters powerful, and it doesn't feel 10 Newton meter powerful. That's just At least in my usage, I have not found that. Somebody else might. And if that's their opinion, that's their opinion. But I will dispute that with my own experience. So, it is what it is. Quite honestly, this is probably the quickest of the in-depth looks because it's the most no frills you can say. Buttons on the face, it's pretty much, you see what you get here. There's no additional wheels that you have to worry about. Cabling is simple. USB to your PC, power, and a USB-C to your pedals if you happen to have the pedals. I unfortunately don't have the pedals, so, it is what it is. But it's still a great wheel that I greatly enjoy using. It's very quiet, being a direct drive. It's not clickety-clack like my G29. And it has a great amount of power. There's really not a lot bad that I can say about this. Now, what I will say is at the beginning, when I had received this, because this was sent to me by Cammus, but, my opinions are my own. They do not see any of videos beforehand. And because they sent it to me does not change my opinion. It will be completely unbiased. I had a lot of issues with this wheelbase at first. They started rolling out more firmware updates, and in those firmware updates, it helped clear a lot of issues. But my biggest issue was that when you turn on the base and you open up the software, one of the two, so when you connect this in and it's properly connected, this is going to show as two items. It's going to show as the wheelbase, and then it will show as the wheel. So it will show two items connected to your PC, not one. And when you turn it on, a lot of the times it was one or the other. It would either be the wheel or the wheelbase. I would have to turn it off, turn it back on. There were times where I would have to turn it off, turn it back on up to 3 times. At the beginning, I was having a lot of disconnect issues where I was driving and it would just randomly disconnect. And that was because it just wasn't being detected properly, or it needed more time to be detected. As time went on, I reached out to Cammus. I guess they may have been making some changes on their firmware. I did see that anytime I would log in, I would get the little prompt, hey, there's new firmware, install it. I installed, I want to say about two cycles of firmware. And after that second one, this was working really well. I did still have that occasional issue where when I first turned it on, it would only show one of the two items plugged in and ready to go. But after a few seconds, the second item would pop up. So then I would see base, and then I would see wheel. That was the problem that I saw. But other than that, it's a great, simple, cost-effective wheel, because this is the big thing here. This is $250. I don't know where you're going to find non-secondhand a direct drive base that's powerful, because I'm not even going to lie, it's powerful. It definitely feels more than 5 Newton meters for $250. So, you've got that there. If you use code JoeyBags at checkout on Cammus's website, you can save 5%, so that will help you with shipping. The good part is that they do have a warehouse here in the States. So while that may help you with shipping costs and shipping time, if we're in the States, we got to pay tax. So there's that. But, it's still probably the most affordable of all of these wheels. It's also the simplest and easiest to use. Quite honestly, there's really not much more to go into it. The software isn't great, but it's still better than PXN software. The phone app, as I said, it's not great. Still better than PXN's phone app. So, take that for what you will. All I can tell you is that it's a great wheelbase. Be patient with it, and it will serve you very well. Other than that, this is probably the simplest and easiest in-depth. The buttons are good. They could be a little bit better, but the buttons are good. I can't complain. The display is great. These LEDs are awesome. The wheel is comfortable. The paddles, for me, are okay. They do sell on Etsy little slip-ons to make them a little bit bigger if you so need that. But honestly, other than that, I think it's a great wheel for the price. And with that, I'm just going to leave it that type of in-depth just because there's really not much more to get into. But if you do have any questions, as I said with the previous two, just put them down in the comment section and I'll get to you as soon as I can. And with that, I thank you all and I will catch you on the Moza video. Peace.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.